Hello, my name is Anne Tailford and I work in the Education Data Division at the Department for Education. I'm here to talk to you about the school level information you are required to submit as part of your school census. This is one of a series of videos related to the school census and should be watched in conjunction with the others. This slide lists the topic areas I will be covering in the presentation. Information on admission appeals is collected from schools that were responsible for their own appeals, relating to appeals against applicants not having received a requested offer of a place for the start of the current academic year. Information about appeals is required from academies as well as voluntary aided and foundation schools. Only appeals which were the responsibility of the school's governing body are included. However, where a school has contracted another agency, such as their home local authority, to administer their admissions appeals process, as long as the school's governance code is VA, FO, or CA, the school must still provide the information as part of their spring census. If your school operates arrangements jointly with other schools, your return will only include appeals for your school. Spring Census collects mandatory information on childcare services provided or signposted by schools. The department will use the data to help evaluate the impact of policies on the number of schools providing childcare and track progress against our aim to increase the numbers. The requirement is that there should be 4 records returned for type of childcare, 1 for each of before school, after school, holiday and under 5s categories. A yes or no should be provided for each record as to whether the school provides or signposts to this type of childcare, with further information required where any yes replies are provided. The following slides provide brief descriptions of the definitions of the different types of childcare. Please refer to the School Census Guide for further information. The Schools Admissions Infant Class Sizes England Regulations 2012 limits the size of an infant class during an ordinary teaching session to 30 pupils per school teacher. Infant classes are those in which the majority of children turn 5, 6 or 7 during the course of the school year, that is, reception and Key Stage 1 classes. Primary and all through schools with infant classes are asked to ensure that the selected period is one in which their infant classes are engaged in an ordinary teaching session. This does not include school assembly or any other school activity usually conducted with large groups of children. If, at the time of the count, infant class children would normally be involved in such an activity, the count is deferred to the next ordinary teaching session. This change of selected time is enacted for all classes in the school, not just the infant classes. The infant class size limit is based on the pupil-teacher ratio and not the pupil-adult ratio. Therefore, regardless of how many teaching assistants are in the class, it will be treated as unlawful if there are more than 30 pupils with 1 teacher. Infant class size legislation makes allowance for the entry of an additional child in very limited circumstances where it would be detrimental to his or her interest not to admit them. These are referred to as accepted pupils. The next 2 slides provide details of what the department defines as accepted pupils. Please note that admissions under fair access protocols are not classed as exceptions and should therefore not be recorded as such. When a Key Stage 1 and or a reception class reports 31 or more pupils per teacher, a class size validation query will appear on the school's return. When investigating the query, this process must be followed. Check whether any of the pupils in the class have been admitted as exceptions. If so, these must be recorded under the appropriate exception category within the class record in Collect. Check whether the teacher is on planning and preparation time or learning manager time and the class is being supervised by a teaching assistant. If so, the teacher must be recorded in the PPA field within the class record in Collect. If you have completed the above actions correctly, the query will disappear. Please note that the ability to record exceptions and PPA is not available on your school MIS and can only be recorded in Collect. If a class is reported as having 31 or more pupils and does not have any exceptions, then a notepad explanation must be provided. To enable the department to authorise your return, you must ensure that you provide further information as to the reason why the class is unlawfully large. An explanation simply confirming the data as correct will not be accepted by the department. As the department provides instructions on how to edit your data, including specific guidance around infant class sizes, it is the school's responsibility as data owners to ensure that any exceptions are recorded correctly within class records in Collect. The department will not be in a position to amend a school's data where exceptions are described in notepad explanations. To assist you in identifying infant classes in breach of the legal limit of 30 pupils per single teacher, a report is available in Collect. The report can be run by pressing the Launch Reports button in Collect and selecting the Unlawful Infant Class report. New validation was introduced from Autumn 2016 Census, which checks the school governance returned as part of the census against the type of establishment information held in Edubase. If this information does not match, a validation query will be triggered. Where the information provided in the census return is incorrect, this should be updated in the school's MIS and the return resubmitted. If, however, the information held on Edubase is incorrect, because the school has changed type and this has not been updated within the school record on Edubase, then the school or local authority should email the address shown on the slide, attaching the statutory notice, proposal and eventual decision record. The school organisation team will then update the school record on Edubase. Please note that until either Collect or Edubase is updated and the two data items match, the validation query will remain. This slide provides links which you may require before and during the live collection. More information about how to submit your census data to us, including details about what data is collected for each termly school census, can be found on the school census page. Please take some time to read these documents as they are designed to help you fulfil your statutory requirements and successfully complete and submit an accurate set of census data. In addition to the online documents, we also provide a data collection forum. The purpose of the forum is to provide a facility to allow customers to exchange ideas and good practice relating to specific data collections and related EDD systems, for example, Collect and School to School. You will require a username and password to access the forum. If you do not already have a username and password, or if you have any questions about the facility, please complete a service request form. I do hope you found this presentation helpful. Thank you.